All right, let's get right into this one. We're going to deconstruct a really chilling first-person story about a late-night study session that takes a very, very dark turn. We'll break it all down, step by step, exactly how it was told.
You know that feeling, right? That little prickle on the back of your neck when you're walking alone at night? Well, that exact feeling is where our story kicks off. But it starts in a place that's supposed to be perfectly safe, a school library.
Okay, so let's paint a picture here. Our storyteller is a student, and it is deep into final exam season. You know the vibe, right? Stress, way too much coffee, and some seriously late nights.
So, the clock hits 10 p.m. I mean, it's not crazy late, but it's definitely late enough for the world to start getting quiet. A little too quiet. The perfect time for things to start feeling off.
And here's what's so interesting about the setup. This isn't some old abandoned building. We're talking about a normal school library, kept open late just for students like our narrator. That very ordinary, safe setting is what makes everything that's about to happen feel so much more disturbing.
And right there, that's the first real sign that something's wrong. It's not just quiet. The story says absolute silence. You know, the kind of heavy, deep quiet where any tiny sound seems to just explode in the air? And boom, there it is, the sound that shatters that silence. Not just footsteps, but a limp, a really specific, uneven sound that just hangs in the air. Immediately you're thinking, who else is in here? And what's with the limp at 10 o'clock at night?
So yeah, our student is officially creeped out. It's time to pack up and get out of there. But, you know, those weird sounds, that was just the warm-up act. The real encounter starts on the walk from the library to the exit. I mean, just picture it for a second. You're heading down this long, empty school hallway late at night, and you just see a figure standing there, perfectly still, at the very end of the corridor. Yeah, instant chills.
So what do? You call out, right? Who's there? You're trying to rationalize it, find a normal explanation for this total weirdness.
But she doesn't answer. She doesn't even walk away. The moment the words are out of their mouth, poof, she's just gone. And that is the exact moment this whole thing shifts from just being a little strange to being seriously scary. So they get outside, probably hoping it's all over, but that feeling of being watched just gets stronger. First, the street is just dead empty. Then, this shadow appears out of nowhere on a wall, a shadow with no source. And then, you guessed it, there she is again, standing just a few feet ahead. This is escalating, and it's escalating fast.
And this time, they're close enough to see the details. And wow, they are not good. We're talking tattered, filthy clothes, messy, matted hair, and the worst part, her hands and feet are twisted, which explains that limp and why she's having so much trouble walking. This isn't just a person anymore. This is a vision of pure distress.
The student just stops dead. I mean, you can't just walk past this figure. And right here, this is the absolute peak of the whole terrifying encounter. And you know that feeling, right? That powerful voice in your head, your gut, that just screams at you, danger, do not go any closer. That's exactly what happens here. That primal fear kicks in, and the student just freezes solid.
And then, the figure speaks. But it's not a threat, it's not a scream, it's a question. Just 4 simple, bizarre words that just hang there in the night air. Where are you going?
I mean, can you even imagine? Your brain just short circuits. It goes completely numb. How do you even process a question like that from a person like that in a moment like this? You don't. You just freeze.
So, in total panic, they do the only thing they can think to do. They don't even use words, they just point. Far, far away, anywhere. The direction doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is getting her to leave.
And it seems to work. The woman starts limping off in the direction they pointed. And just for a second, maybe there's a tiny bit of relief. But then, a scream carries back from the distance. And the words are just terrifyingly specific. She is here. And after that, nothing. Everything goes black.
So, what in the world just happened? Well, our storyteller wakes up, they're at home, safe. Turns out, a neighbor found them passed out cold on the sidewalk. And that's when this horrifying, bizarre encounter gets an explanation that is somehow even more tragic. So the neighbor tells them about this local legend, a story that's actually rooted in a real tragedy from back in 1998. See, a little 10-year-old girl who went to Eden Hill School died in a terrible accident. And ever since then, they say her mother's spirit has been seen around the area, searching for her.
And this isn't just some nameless spook. The ghost has a name, Agatha. She was a 32-year-old mom whose daughter went to that school. And the story goes that her grief was so immense, so powerful, that it literally tied her spirit to this place. She's not trying to be scary. She's just a lost mother, forever looking for her child.
And this chart really breaks it all down, doesn't it? It decodes the whole thing. Agatha isn't just aimlessly wandering around Eden Hill. She is on a mission. And that creepy question, where are you going? Suddenly it makes a kind of heartbreaking sense. She's not asking for directions for herself. She's asking with this desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, you're on your way to meet her daughter.
And that brings us full circle, back to our student being found on the ground. They were brought home and finally given the heartbreaking context for what they went through. That scream they heard, "She is here," that was probably Agatha's cry of mistaken joy, thinking her little girl was finally found in the direction the student had pointed.
And really, that's what this all comes down to. This story, as absolutely terrifying as it is on the surface, is really a story about grief, about profound, unending loss. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many of our own local legends, those ghost stories we whisper to each other, how many of them aren't really about malice at all, but are just echoes of a deep, human sorrow that simply refuses to fade away?